What if I told you that there's an enemy out there that defeats more people than anything else in the entire world? And no, it's not an army or a rival or some force you can see. This enemy is much, much closer. In fact, it's inside you. And in the next few minutes, we are going to break down exactly how you can win that fight for good.
You know, the legendary surfer Laird Hamilton absolutely nailed it with this one. He said the real battlefield isn't out there in the world, it's the 6 inches of space between our ears. I mean, just think about that for a second. What if the single biggest thing holding you back is actually you?
So who is this opponent we're all up against? If we're gonna fight it, we've got to be able to name it, right? What is this thing really?
There it is, plain and simple. The enemy is fear. It's that nagging self-doubt, that little voice in your head that just loves to whisper, "You're not good enough. You're gonna fail. Just don't even bother trying." It's an enemy every single one of us faces every single day. And look, don't make the mistake of underestimating this enemy. As Emerson pointed out, it is devastatingly effective. I mean, be honest, has it ever stopped you from starting that business, asking for that raise, or even just speaking up in a meeting? This enemy has one goal: to keep you from growing.
So how do we even start to fight back? Well, there's that famous saying from Sun Tzu: you have to know your enemy and know yourself. So before we can come up with a battle plan, we have to do a little recon. We need to understand what fear is and how it operates inside our own heads.
Okay, so here's the crazy part about fear. It's not actually the bad guy, or at least it didn't start out that way. It's a really old, really primal survival tool. Its entire job for thousands of years was just to keep you from being eaten by a tiger, to keep you alive.
But here's the glitch in the system. That ancient wiring, it hasn't really been updated for the modern world. Your brain reacts to the threat of giving a presentation with the exact same panic it would use for a saber-toothed tiger. Your heart pounds, your palms get sweaty. It's the same physical response, even though the stakes are completely different.
And that right there, that's where your power lies. Your primitive brain is just running on autopilot, treating a board meeting like a life or death situation. But your conscious mind, the part of you listening right now, knows the difference, and that is a massive advantage. Because when you really boil it down, when you peel back all the layers of any fear you can think of, fear of failure, fear of rejection, you name it, you always find this one single thought hiding underneath: I can't handle it. That's the root of it all. We're afraid we won't be able to handle whatever comes next.
Okay, so we've done our homework, we know who the enemy is, we know its ancient programming, and we found its central belief. So the big question is, now what? What are we going to do about it? How do we actually fight back?
This is where we go on the offensive. Think of this next part as us opening up the armory. We're going to talk about the practical, real-world weapons you can start using today to dismantle fear and take back control.
The single most powerful weapon in your arsenal is this: action. Not thinking, not planning, not waiting for the perfect moment. Action. See, fear thrives when you hesitate. It grows in the space of inaction. Action starves it of oxygen. It's the ultimate countermove.
But just take action can feel kind of vague, right? So how do you get the momentum? You use this incredible feedback loop. You don't just wait for confidence, you build it piece by piece. You start by getting a little better at something. Then you actually use that skill. You see a real result, even a small one. And that proof, that builds real confidence, which makes you want to take more action. And the whole cycle starts again. It's a self-powering engine.
Now, to make sure all that action is effective, you've got to focus your energy. Forget about things you can't change. The ancient Stoics knew this. There are only 4 things you are ever truly in control of: your desire, your attitude, your judgments, and your determination. That's it. Pour all your energy into those 4 buckets.
And here's another weapon, one that's seriously underrated: power of no. Think of it like a shield. It protects your most valuable resources, your time and your focus. Because every single time you say no to something that's just noise, you're really saying a powerful yes to what actually matters in your fight.
So, we've got our weapons. We've got our tactics for the moment-to-moment battles. But tactics only win skirmishes. To win the whole war, you need a grand strategy. You need a reason to keep fighting when it gets hard, and that is your purpose.
This quote from Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the Holocaust, says it all. Your purpose is your why. It's that deep conviction that gives you the strength to get through all the difficult hows that life throws at you. It's the fuel that keeps you going when fear starts to creep back in.
But here's a huge mistake a lot of us make. We think purpose is something we have to find, like it's buried treasure. That's not it. Purpose isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you decide. It is an active choice you make about what you stand for and why you're here.
So how do you make that decision real? Well, here's a 5-step plan. First, be incredibly precise about what it is. Second, think big.
Don't sell yourself short. Third, give it a deadline. Turn someday into a real date. Fourth, decide what you're willing to sacrifice for it. And finally, the most important step, write it down. Make it real.
All right, let's bring this all together. We have our weapons for taking control. We have our guiding purpose. The final piece is about integrating all of this, about shifting your identity, about becoming the warrior in your own story.
And here's a tough but really important truth that every warrior knows. This battle is never really over. This isn't a one-time fix. Conquering that inner enemy is a daily practice. Your mind is a muscle, and if you stop training it, it gets weak. It's that simple.
I love how Will Smith puts this. Talent is something you're born with, sure. The skill of mastering your own mind, of managing fear, that only comes from putting in the work, hour after hour, day after day. It's about practice.
And all of this training, all this hard work, it leads you to one final huge realization. We tend to think the goal is to get to a point where we have no fear at all, to be fearless. But what if that's the wrong target? What if that's not the point at all?
Because the real victory, it isn't the absence of fear. It's the presence of courage. It's about feeling the fear, acknowledging it's there, and taking action anyway. That's how you win. That is how you win your inner battle. So the only question left is, are you ready to fight?